Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into electric vehicles. You know, they're often presented as this shining symbol of a cleaner future.
They are. But the sources we've looked at, well, they really challenge that idea. Quite strongly, actually.
Yeah, they suggest a hidden side, right? An environmental and social cost that's often overlooked.
Exactly. It's astonishingly complex. We're talking about burdens far removed from that clean image.
And Nithin Kamath, the Zerodha co-founder, puts it bluntly in one source. He asks, are we just moving pollution from city streets to biodiversity hotspots? That really sets the stage, doesn't it? This green paradox.
It absolutely does. It forces us, and you listening, to look beyond the tailpipe. It's about the entire life cycle, cradle to grave. The green label gets complicated fast.
Okay, so let's peel back the layers on this green ride. What's the shocking truth? Let's start with Indonesia. Kamath says they're strip mining paradise islands for nickel. What does that actually mean on the ground?
It means Indonesia has just exploded onto the scene. They now supply half the world's mined nickel. Think about that half. And they hold over 40% of the reserves.
Wow.
Yeah, and the money involved. Exports jumped from under $12 billion in 2020 to maybe $40 billion now. And the number of smelters went from just 2 to over 60 since 2016. It's frantic expansion.
And the cost. We're hearing about places like Raja Ampat, the Amazon of the Seas, a UNESCO site being scarred.
Profoundly scarred. Satellite images show mining areas expanding by nearly 500 hectares. That's over 1,200 acres in just 4 years. Dr. Philip Dustin, a marine biologist, described it starkly. The system bleeds. Topsoil gets scraped off.
And washes into the sea.
Exactly. Sediment smothers the coral reefs. He called it an ecological disaster. Plain and simple.
And it's not just the environment, is it? What about the people living there?
That's equally tragic. Indigenous communities like the Ohangana Manyawa, the Baho people, they're losing ancestral lands. There was even a horrific incident where a 2-year-old Baho child drowned in water clouded by nickel runoff.
Oh, that's awful.
It is. They face contaminated water, fewer fish, lost farmland. These communities are effectively becoming sacrifice zones for our batteries.
Sacrifice zones, that's a heavy term. And this isn't just Indonesia, right? Kamath also points to the Democratic Republic of Congo, saying it destroys communities with child labor for cobalt.
Yes, the DRC situation is deeply troubling and well documented. They supply around 70% of the world's cobalt, and maybe up to 30% of that comes from these unregulated artisanal mines.
Artisanal mining. That sounds small scale, but the reality.
The reality involves children, sometimes just 7 or 8 years old, working incredibly long hours, maybe 12 hours a day, for barely anything $1 or $2. UNICEF estimated 40,000 kids involved back in 2014, and recent figures suggest it hasn't really changed.
And the condition?
Terrible.
Yeah.
Toxic dust leading to lung diseases, skin problems, spinal issues from carrying heavy loads, and tunnel collapses are frequent and often fatal. It's driven by sheer poverty, trapping people in this cycle. A true poverty trap.
It's a grim picture. And then there's the geopolitical angle. Kamath states China controls the minerals that make EVs possible. Rare earths, lithium, tungsten. How significant is this control?
It's huge.
Yeah.
But the key thing to understand, maybe, is that it's not just about digging it out of the ground. China's real dominance is in processing.
Refining it.
Exactly. They refine something like 87 to 90% of rare earths, around 70% of lithium, over 85% of tungsten. This gives Beijing immense geopolitical leverage, and we've already seen them sort of weaponize these minerals with export controls.
Okay, so we have environmental destruction, human rights issues, geopolitical maneuvering, and then the ultimate irony. Kamath points out all of this is powered by coal plants.
Right, that's the kicker, isn't it? Producing the batteries themselves is incredibly energy intensive. We're talking 40 to 60 kilos of coheros generated for just 1 kilowatt hour of battery capacity.
So for a typical EV battery, say 100 kilowatt hours, like a Tesla Model S,
you're looking at up to 6 tons of coheros emitted before that car even hits the road, just from making the battery. That initial production footprint is massive, about 46% of an EV's total lifetime emissions, compared to maybe 26% for a standard internal combustion engine car.
So you have to drive the EV for quite a while just to break even.
Yeah, the estimates suggest at least 8 years, maybe more depending on where your electricity comes from, just to offset the emissions from its production.
And you mentioned water earlier. The lithium water footprint sounds alarming too.
It's astonishing. Producing 1 ton of lithium, enough for maybe 100 car batteries, can require up to 2 million tons of water.
2 million tons?
Yes. And in places like the Lithium Triangle in South America, Chile, Argentina, Bolivia, lithium extraction consumes vast amounts of scarce water.
Yeah.
In parts of Chile, it's like 65% of the region's water.
So are we just stuck then? Swapping one kind of pollution for another, or are there actual solutions?
No, we're not doomed. There's definitely hope. Battery recycling is a huge one. There's a Stanford study showing recycling uses drastically less energy and water, like a quarter, and emits less than half the greenhouse gases compared to mining new stuff. Companies like Redwood Materials are really pushing this circular economy idea.
Okay, recycling helps. What else?
Better mining practices are key, using the best available technologies, enforcing stricter environmental standards, and innovation. Things like direct recycling, which is more efficient, and finding second life uses for old EV batteries before they're fully recycled.
And what about the human cost, like in the DRC?
There are efforts, slowly, to formalize the artisanal mining sector, improve safety, ensure fairer wages, provide alternative livelihoods. It's complex, but it's crucial to break that poverty cycle driving the hazardous conditions.
So it brings us back to that question from Nithin Kamath. Cleaner streets, yes, but at the cost of dirtier oceans, shattered communities, and forgotten islands. It really makes you think.
It absolutely does. It highlights our collective responsibility, doesn't it? That old saying comes to mind. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. We have to consider the true cost.
The choice, then, is really ours. Is our drive for innovation going to be matched by, well, genuine responsibility?